What's up, everybody? It's Alex from Heavy New York, and on the phone after such a long time, we got Andreas from Cabal. Great to talk to you again, man, from the quarantine zone.
Yeah, nice to talk to you again, man.
Yeah, how is it over there in Denmark?
It's all right. Like we're in quarantine, so like nobody's really out, and it's kind of dead, but it's pretty manageable.
Yeah, it's not much better here in New York.
No,
Yeah,
could imagine.
yeah. I gotta say, you just did your first North American tour. It was an honor to witness the first ever North American Cabal show at the Kingsland in Brooklyn, and
Yeah,
just in
man.
the nick of time too, before all hell broke loose.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, do you just want to talk about how the first North American tour was going?
yeah, I could. It was really nice. I think we went like way past any expectations we had. We actually managed to make back all the money we put into the tour, so we came home with like zero, which is like a victory in this kind of. And it was just like overall great experience. Like we played a lot of cool shows, and we met a lot of really nice people, and we also learned a lot of stuff like a very teaching moment as well, like about ourselves and touring, and just like being around each other for a month, living in an RV is also like kind of like learn stuff from that about each other. And
Yeah. Yeah, and when I saw you live, obviously that was my first time seeing Cabal live. I've listened to you guys though for quite a while, and I thought it was a very different experience seeing you live. With
yeah,
having to watch my ass in the pit quite a few moments. For you, like I was just curious because when I saw you performing live, it was almost like you kind of just went away on stage. Like obviously, when you're on stage, it's a different experience than simply songwriting, right?
yeah, yeah. Of course, it is. It's like way more intense. It's the best thing ever. Like to be honest, it's like why I do all of this. Like I like all the songwriting and everything, but all that work is something I do so I get to like experience like that moment of being there. It's just like yeah, kind of like disappear into the moment, especially like if it's a good show, which is like it's better than anything else.
Yeah, definitely. And the last time we spoke. We talked about "Drag Me Down," which was scheduled to come out. We talked about the collaboration with Matt Hafey from Trivium. First and
Right.
foremost, now that the record's scheduled to come out next week, do you just want to talk about the overall experience with the making of this record? After having such a big, awesome record with Mark of Rot, you then had to follow it up with "Drag Me Down." So, like, what was the thought process going into this album, and really just how the making of it was?
Uh, I think the idea was like from the get go that we didn't want to make Mark of Rod Part Two. We wanted to make something that still sounded like us, but where we tried out new stuff. Like we wanted to add more diversity. That was like one of the main things we talked about. Just like because we felt like even though we loved our debut album, it was kind of like a bit too much of the same thing. Where we tried to add more variation to each song on this record.
So yeah, because I know that not only did you collaborate with Matt from Trivium, but you also collaborated with Kim from Maul, and you just collaborated with Jamie from Polaris. They obviously brought some new stuff into the music as well, right?
Yeah, they really did. And one cool thing there is like all the guys are from metal bands, when compared to like the last record where we had CJ and we had Philip from Humanity's Last Breath doing features. They're like those like The Artist Murder and Humanity's Breath is like really similar. It's like it makes perfect sense for them to be there, like for the features, because the like music is so similar. But with these like the new guys we brought in was like they're all from metal bands, obviously, as I said, but they're from vastly different metal bands than us. So it was kind of fun to take somebody from from Matt Heafy from Trivium. Like Trivium sounds way different from Cabal, and just like adding him to a song and seeing like what that did.
Yeah, yeah, and from Kim from Maul, like Maul is like black metal almost. So like
Yeah, it's like this black gaze thing.
yeah, I think maybe like having different vocals. I think this is like a clear representation on how diverse this album is going to be, right?
Yeah, yeah, it is. We're trying out a lot of new stuff. So like having these guys just like adds to that.
Yeah. So these singles are just not really like just a representation of what the whole album is going to sound like. There's a lot more to expect.
yeah, there's like at least a few more surprises than the singles. I also feel like even though like the singles were kind of like different, in, like each single like represented something new, or not new, but like just like one thing, like not necessarily connected to the other. It's like didn't I felt like the sound of them was like vastly different from each single we put out.
Yeah. Yeah, when it comes to like getting inspired to write, like, do you just do ideas for Cabal just come out of the blue sometimes, or do you kind of in a way like look for inspiration? Do you kind of have to put yourself in a certain element in order to get inspired to write?
I feel like when we first started the band, we like had to draw a lot more inspirations from like other places. But I feel like now we kind of have like we know what we're doing and which direction we're kind of like going. We have like this thin red line going through everything we do. So now ideas more so just like pop up because like now there's like almost a universe that exists like that's Cabal universe, and we can like work within that universe like pretty freely now because it's more defined.
Yeah. Do you find it easier to come up with ideas, whether it's for lyrics or for music, when you're kind of like alone in isolation, or do you kind of need to be in the company of your band members in order for better ideas to come?
Uh, I write the music like the lyrics on my own usually, and I feel like yeah, being isolated and also being in the shitty mood is like where I come up with my best stuff.
Yeah. Are you writing new lyrics already during this time in isolation?
Yeah, I'm actually always like I have like the notepad function on my phone open a lot of the time. Just like I'll for some reason like a rhyme will just like pop up into my head out of nowhere, and I'll write it down. And I'm like good doing that a lot right now. Just like my initial process of like writing lyrics, I'll just like write down like a bunch of like random shit, and at some point I'll go through it all and see like which kind of like parts stick together, like fit together, and like I'll work like make full songs out of it.
Yeah. It's so when you're like writing this, because obviously it's one thing to write an amazing set of lyrics, but then they also have to like fit the song. So like, are you writing something with the idea knowing this is the verse, this is the chorus, or like you don't really know that until the music is laid down already?
Yeah, sometimes like I kind of like I'll have a sentence pop into my head and it's like, oh, this is a good call out, this is a good chorus, and I'll write it like there's almost a certain way of writing that kind of fits with most rhythms. So like if like all most like our music isn't like 4/4, so like it's pretty easily actually just like writing something that'll fit that, and you can just like play around with it because it's actually like pretty simple, or kind of like it makes sense after a while how you like even with having no music writing, I can still like write something that will fit most of the music we do because I kind of like know it that well by now.
Yeah. And another question I actually have for you is because I don't know whether you realize this or not, but people were really connecting with your music, especially at that show. Like I've rarely seen like an opening band like really just make the audience their own. A lot of people were there to see Ingested and Visceral Disgorge and Last 10 Seconds of Life, but like you guys really connected with them. When you see how people connect with your art and the music and the lyrics that you write, does that change on how you look at yourself as an artist in a way?
I don't know if it changes how I look at myself as an artist, but it definitely like validates what I'm doing. Like, and it's just like it's the greatest feeling ever. Like seeing somebody actually liking the stuff you've like put your heart and your soul into. It's the best. Yeah.
Yeah, and like, cause is almost like lyrically, is there a usual subject matter that you try to approach with your lyrics, or are you taking inspiration from multiple sources?
I feel like general theme is kind of like not sad stuff, but like dark stuff and like heavy thoughts that I need to get out because like, and it could be like it could be like a broad array of like subjects, but like the main theme is that it's all like heavy stuff. It's not like I wouldn't write a Cabal song if I was feeling great. Don't not write like happy lyrics and try to make some like I don't know something else with it.
Yeah. Yeah. And the final question I wanted to ask you is, with all the shit happening in the world today, because obviously, is there any way a band, that the fans of yours could support you through like your online merch or through your, the album's coming out April 3rd, so a lot of people are going to be getting that. Is there just any other way that fans could support Cabal during this crazy time?
I think the best thing everybody could do is just like buy the album. We just got a shipment of new merch home. You can buy some of that if you want to support us and just like stream our stuff, like just view it, like consume our content, and it'll be good.
Yeah. What's your online merch store?
It's Bandcamp. It's Cabal at Bandcamp. Cabal CPH, I think. Just gonna pull it out real quick.
Cheater.
Okay, yeah, that's a good thing about like being in front of your computer doing this. Where is it? There it is. I'm just gonna send it to you in the chat.
Yeah, awesome. I'll post a link to the merch in the description below.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, but Andreas, great to be able to talk to you again. I'm glad you're all safe, and I'm glad the first North American tour went very good. I think it just ended like at the perfect time, right? Like it ended before all this craziness happened, right?
Yeah, I'm really, really glad that we actually got to go home. Like, that we didn't strand in somewhere else. Like, because I believe all air traffic is like closed by now.
Yeah. So, just to talk about perfect timing.
Yeah, we got out in the nick of time. It's close by.
Yeah. But Andreas, again, great talk to you again. Everybody, Andreas of
Good.
Cabal, Drag Me Down, out April 3rd. Be sure to pick that up. You won't regret it. This is Alex from Heavy New York. We'll see you next time.